So it's 9:00. What does a pirate from Boston say?
Red Sox.
See, get it? Instead of R. This is a good one. My friend told me yesterday. I remembered it for you guys. Okay. Carol,
Well, can I just say how much I love Eli Review? I'm great about it all the time.
You guys, my dissertation's using Eli. It has to be fixed before fall. I'm having panic attacks because we've never had this many problems before.
It is awful.
Just the day that I file my IRB. Thanks. Let's just hope I still graduate.
Oh, no. So I guess my question is, because I'm totally confused by the system, and so I just stopped using it.
Part of the problem is that when you upload papers to it, it doesn't work as well. It's meant to just sort of have the paper like natively in there, like copied and pasted into it. So that's how it was designed. So when you upload papers, it's a little crabby. Just FYI.
So for the response, can I just put it all into one paper and just upload it that way instead of trying to figure out and rearrange and respond to individuals?
Yeah, I think you can do a global response, and I think I set it up that way. Let me look. You should be able to just respond globally.
I wasn't able to find a place where we could upload something.
Yeah, you can't in the response to reviews, but you should have a thing to dump it in there, like one of the revision plan. Okay. So, wait, am I logged in as a student? Yes. Okay.
So by Sunday, we need to respond to the feedback we got, but not submit a brand new revision. That's at the end of week 8.
Right. This is just a revision plan.
Revision plan.
So it's just responding to the comments that we got, saying whether or not we're going to address them or whether we feel like it's already addressed. Okay.
So if you add all the comments to revision plan, and there should be a thing where you can write back about your revision
Add
plan.
a note about this comment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how you respond. I'm just not sure if I'm logged in I'm logged in as a student right now. So when I look at the revision plan for myself, it says additional revision notes. So if you want to just copy and paste them into there, that's perfect. I'm the only one who looks at your Eli stuff. So wherever you put it, I'll find it and I'll figure it out. Okay. And if I can't figure it out, I'll email you. Okay.
You'll know what we mean if we say we're feeling percentage U 2026, percentage U 201D.
201 dash.
I'm sorry, I meant parentheses.
Yeah. Okay.
So I have a question. So you guys are saying that we need to comment or respond to the comments that were received by this Sunday at 11:59?
Right.
Oh, that doesn't mean, okay. That's not how I got it worded on for this week. Okay.
Okay. 1 second. Where did you see it that it's wrong? Because I tried to find all the places where it might have been wrong.
So week 7, I'm looking ahead. Remember also that step number 6, revise, respond, resubmit of your RDP is due next week.
Okay.
This represents a lot of work. And accordingly, you should begin to address reviewers' feedback and working on your revisions this week. So it seems like you begin to work on it, but it's due next week.
Okay, so what we want is that we wanted you guys to be responding to the reviewers this week, and then next week that you're turning in the final revision of it. But you know what?
Gotcha.
Because it is a little confusing because it isn't separated out. Next week is fine. Like, we'll just say next week is fine because I can see why it's a little confusing. So, because you need to do your final proposal and respond to the reviewers. So I think the idea was that we were going to have you to sort of scaffold it, that you should have your response to the reviewer really by Sunday. But I mean, if you need till Monday or Tuesday, it's fine. Okay. Just like let me know or whatever, because I'm going to start looking at them if they're done. But if you need more time to respond to the reviewers, the idea is I just want to do that before you start revising. Okay. And if you've not started revising by Sunday, you're going to be in tough shape next week. Okay.
And so but you're saying though, as part of the response, it includes what our revision would be though, right?
No, you just write how you're going to approach your revision.
How you're going to approach it. Okay.
Yeah. So the revision plan really is like, I'm going to address this comment, this comment, this comment, and this comment. We want you to add all the comments because part of when you're doing this for journal articles, if you choose to ignore a reviewer's comment, that's fine. You have to explain why you did that. So we want you adding all the feedback you got to your revision plan in Eli, and then respond to it as a global response, like in that additional notes section, or to the individual comments in Eli. Does that make sense?
Or we can include how we thought we've already addressed it, and maybe it was
That's right. That's right. Yep. Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. Because that does happen. That happens with reviewers all the time, where they don't really get what you were trying to do. And you can say, like, I think I explained it right, and it's right here, and I think they missed it, and I'm not changing anything.
Will there be a second round of responses, or for this exercise, this is it?
The only person who sees your revision plan and your response to reviewers is me.
Okay. Speaking of who's seeing it, do we know who's evaluating
your reviewers? Your reviewers might see if you respond directly to a comment in Eli, they might see that. I can't remember exactly. Okay.
But they can't re-respond, or you can't re-respond? Okay. Nope. But do we know who's evaluating the article critiques this time around?
Who did it last time? Matt? Carrie's doing it.
Matt, yeah. Okay.
I think. Wait, let me double check. I have notes on this. Hold on. Let me just see. Okay. Continue to talk amongst yourselves. Okay, let's see. So let's see. What has to be left to be graded is your interest statement, which will be graded by Carrie. Your annotated bibliography is graded by Carrie, and your logic model is graded by Carrie. Your peer review and your response reviewers are both graded by me. Your final proposal is graded by both Matt and Carrie. Article critique 5 is Matt's. And your overall portfolio is graded by me.
What's the annotated bibliography?
Our research reports.
Your research reports, all your research reports put together in one spot.
Okay.
And what's the interest statement? You said an interest statement?
Mm-hmm. That's your research interests.
The digital storytelling?
Plus, you should have a written part.
First paragraph.
That thing we wrote the first day, the first night that we were on campus.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's on the website? That's on my... Oh, okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that would be, I think, under online portfolio somewhere, maybe. So we're going off the syllabus where if you look on the syllabus for sure, it says like all the aspects that you're going to be graded on, and almost all of it still needs to be graded because you've been looking at it all semester. So
hi, Carrie.
The article critiques.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Carrie.
Hey.
It didn't ding dong for me.
Sorry, I'm late. I didn't. The link doesn't pop up when I look at the Google invitation.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I was trained to look for the Zoom email. So
ignore I forgot to send it. I'm sorry, I forgot to send it. My bad.
So ignore my emails from you. Where's the link?
Okay, I will. Yeah, Matt was too. Okay. Matt, so the same thing. Let me email Matt. Okay, talk amongst yourselves.
How's everybody doing?
Not too bad.
Feeling okay about the paper? Your RDP?
I was going to say what paper, but
Which part of it? How about response to reviewers? Has that been helpful? Challenging?
We were just talking about how to handle Eli review because it's just a little confusing. Eli had some issues, so that's compounding everything. So, but I don't know. How are you guys feeling? Do you feel like you can handle the responses now?
Yeah, Andrea, I have to connect with you still because I only got one comment from that second reviewer.
Right. Okay.
So
you were going to tell me which number reviewer it was?
It was number 2.
Number 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was just waiting for an email. Okay. And I'll make sure you get that.
Okay.
And hopefully tonight, because I think, yeah, okay. Other questions you guys have?
I have a general question about the, not about the article critique, but more, how do these things get published? It's kind of my question. And I guess, like, as we're looking at all of this stuff, I mean, is this what I'm thinking back to my research reports, and to be honest, I didn't look at them that critically. So this is not, as long as we're choosing reputable journals, we shouldn't be seeing things like what we're seeing in our article critiques. Is that a fair assumption to think that if we're looking at some of the top tier journals, that those sorts of things shouldn't pop up?
Well, it depends a little on how you're seeing the act of critiquing articles. So what is true in top tier journals, you tend to see less just obvious errors and bad decisions and so forth. So the writing will tend to be better. The study will be more closely aligned with the need for the study, the gaps in the literature, etc. The reporting will be better. There won't be, really low alphas. There won't be conflating, confounds in the design and those kind of stuff. But it isn't true that studies are perfect, and so little things do sneak through. But you tend to see less of those overt errors. On the other hand, what the orientation you're really trying to cultivate is not one looking for what's wrong, but looking for what's sort of the limits of the evidence. So that's where, you see a correlational study in a top tier journal and you don't see all the errors. You're still responding to the fact that there's no evidence for causality given the limit of that design. Or you're looking at it and everything's, very clean and right, but at the same time you look at the nature of the measures and you say to yourself, well, are those measures valid for all ways of thinking about something like interest or something like that? Does that make sense? So
yeah, so it sounds like
what critique is really about at its core, but through the process you definitely find yourself also responding to what just looked like to you blatant errors and bad decisions.
Yeah, so it sounds like what you're saying is that when we're reading some of the better studies, we're going to be looking for ways, like Andrea said earlier, the ways to push the boundaries. So there might be limitations, and we're looking for those gaps so that if we need a direction to go in the future, maybe our research can address one of those gaps. And the stuff we're reading now, there are just so many gaps that it's hard to even understand what they're doing or why they're doing it. So that helps a lot. Thank you for that explanation.
But the other is that it's good to see those obvious ones early on, because later the really clean studies where everything looks right, it can be harder to see the fallacies in logic or the big jumps that are made because it just looks so good, and so that's where it's kind of a rough line between critiquing from a negative orientation and critiquing with really thinking about what are the limits. So Yeah, hopefully that helps a little. Yeah. But we all develop biases, so it's easy to go to a good journal and see a good author and just say, oh, it's going to be great. And you have to guard against that too.
Other questions?
Are reviewers expected to accommodate for the fact that it would be nice if X, Y, and Z were explicit, but we're talking about a 5-page paper versus a 17-page paper? Is that ever a factor when evaluating?
Yeah, you can never make everyone happy in terms of how deeply you cover everything. So I'm revising a paper right now, and I literally had one reviewer who said, we want you to make less blanket references to this research, and it would be nice to see a sentence or two following those statements with a for example comma, which I took as a little irritating in the sense of you don't need to tell me how to structure a sentence, but his point or her point was more, I'd like to see some more detail about the studies that are most relevant to what you're doing, which is a reasonable request. But it's time length. I made a judgment call about what I thought was most relevant, and that wasn't it. So there's always this tension. And at the end of the day, you got to satisfy the reviewers who are reviewing your paper, who may not be representative of everyone in the future who's going to read your paper either. So, but I know as an author, I try to err on the short side going into when I submit something, because people are going to want more, because that gives space for whatever more they request. And in that way too, I don't go too far down a path that they might not think is relevant in terms of detail.
That's helpful. Thank you.
Strategically, I also have developed this strategy where I want a few red herrings where the reviewer will go, "Oh, you need to do this," and I say, "Great,
Easter eggs.
That's what I wanted you to see." But
because they're not gonna walk away with not saying or having any critiques. So right. You got to have a couple built in.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't worry about this at this point. Don't worry about that at this point in your career, but you just never know. So it's nice to have that space, and it's nice to make some easy calls where people can say, "Oh, I did a good job on my review." So.
Andrea, you're going to get a bunch of comments of us responding to our feedback this week. I meant to leave that out.
I plan to add it back in now.
Yes.
Yeah, this is intentional. No, you can never admit it. I'm happy to add that back in. It was initially cut for space, but I'm willing to fulfill the reviewer's sense that I need to expand on that.
What can also happen is different reviewers will ask for opposing things. So one wants more and one wants less, and so then you hope for a good editor, but you also you have to decide who you're gonna satisfy and who you're gonna not.
Can you send them to talk to each other?
No.
Well, I don't know how true this is always, but I can, if someone's revised and resubmitted, I can see the other reviewers' initial reviews of it. I don't know who they are, but I can see what they were highlighting. And so then I can look for that on the resubmit.
And do they all typically receive your response, or is it just the editor that receives your response?
Everyone who is invited to review a revision sees your response. So sometimes that's all of the original reviewers. Sometimes it's only a few of the original reviewers. Having started this editor role, we're starting to get our revisions of manuscripts, and the strategy I've been taking is I tend to invite those reviewers who provided the best reviews. So not necessarily positive or negative, but they were thoughtful and constructive, and So the reviewer who gives the sort of vacuous overview, oh, this was interesting, it just isn't helpful. And I don't invite them back. Or this is rare, but there's been a few cases where someone is so far in left field that they don't get they don't get to see the revision either. But and then I've had 2 instances where the reviewer so disagreed with the decision that they don't want to see it again. So that's it all boils down to your argument, sort of, do they buy it or not?
Interesting. Other questions about this week's work, or as we're ending?
Back onto sort of the article critiques. When will we revisit this skill or process again in the program?
It depends a little on the instructor. So I don't remember, Andrea, for 910, did we do it last time?
I don't think we did.
I don't think so in different courses, I've brought it back depending on.
I think in the second half of Pro Seminar they do it though, don't they?
Yeah, they definitely do
in the spring. You'll do it again in the spring.
Okay.
And then other instructors use it at their discretion. So I would also say that revisit it when you do your practicum class, because it's really helpful in proposal writing to use that same critique framework on your own proposal. Obviously, you can't do the analysis part and the conclusion part, but the beginning part you can. And then you can, when you're finished with your practicum, you can apply it to your finished document as well.
But I hope the practice of, I hope the message is clear that the practice of critique is the fundamental way we read and think as scholars. So, I do it as a reviewer many times a year, very formally, but the bigger issue is just intuiting that way of reading when you're looking at studies. So there's a specific question to your, Brian, in terms of doing it in 901 and then in some courses, but this should become just how you approach research.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's an important thing, and I pull out those questions a lot, especially now. So I find them super useful.
I pull them out sometimes when I'm writing my own article because I'm like, all right.
That's right. That's when I use them the most.
All right, did I do everything I needed to do?
Exactly.
Here?
Double check that I have everything. Other questions? Carrie missed my joke. It was so good too.
It was.
It was a really exceptional joke tonight. I had to view the recording.
Have to view the recording.
Speaking of recording, it's more logistical, but the Parade of Scholars, are those going to be shared and or posted someplace?
They probably are already posted in the design studio.
Oh, okay.
Page. They have a special page for everything. So let me just Google that real quick.
You're very quiet tonight, Michelle.
I am trying to navigate this Eli while you guys are on, so if I have questions, I can ask that.
Okay, so I lied. They're not up there yet. But you know what? I'll follow up with John Bell and find out, okay?
Okay. All I know is I called Brian ahead of time so we can coordinate looks for tonight.
That's true, isn't it, you guys?
We got the shade of red off a little bit, but otherwise I think we're nailing it.
Yeah.
Andrea, where do you think the talk should be?
I thought they might be on the Design Studio site, but they're not.
Well, what's the Design Studio site?
Do you want me to drop it in the chat? I'm going to drop it in the chat window right now.
Because I think it should be an ePad hub, but I don't.
Yeah, that was the other place I thought, but so I just put the Design Studio link there in the chat. Maybe, let's see. Yeah, I'll just follow up with them and figure out. It could be maybe they're not up yet.
No, it's in that Ed Talk URL that they were circulating for a while. That's where it would be.
Is that
right?
Do you have that one?
No, I don't. That's what I'm frustrated for. I thought that would be linked
on the hub.
Yeah, but it's not.
What was it called?
Well, we can.
It's edtalks.educ.msu.edu, I think.
Whoa! Put it in the chat room, please.
I got it on my other computer, so I'm trying to type it in. Yeah.
That was too many words. Follow. You just broke me.
I think it's that one. No, too many dots. Well, take out that second dot.
And talks.
I found it, but it's not there.
Okay.
So.
Well, that was, I mean, for mine, I mean, I said at the beginning, Andrea, that I had a number of questions. They're mostly around logistical, Eli review, approach.
Yeah. Listen, however it works for you, just make it work. I'll figure it out. If I have a question, I'll email you. How's that?
That sounds good.
There is no wrong. Just make it work.
And is that the product that's used throughout the program for these types of reviews, or is it up to the individual?
Instructors can use it.
I think you're looking at the only 3 instructors who have ever used it in our program.
Probably.
Yeah. So Andrew and I used it in a class I taught in the fall.
And in the spring.
And so this was our 3rd time.
Yeah, we haven't
had this trouble. So.
We had so many more students in it too, and it was fine.
Yeah.
Well, with a larger group, the anonymity might be a little more effective as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I know who this was.
First line, I knew who my first one was. I was like, I know who that is.
Yep. Because you guys all heard each other's research reports for 2 weeks, and
it's a good thing in a way.
Yeah, consistency, right?
Yeah.
Well, that we know each other is nice.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, the working on the video along with the proposal was really helpful in terms of both crafting the story and focusing and helping me focus. So doing both of those, I don't know if everybody else did, but I did both of those kind of simultaneous.
And I'm like halfway through your digital storytelling ones, so you should be getting them like tonight or tomorrow if you haven't already. So.
You're watching them all twice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, Carl, why do you think that worked that way?
Well, for me, then I had to be able to craft a story in a short amount of time. I had to really focus, but then on the RDP, then I really had to. I don't know. For me, I had to run both ends of the spectrum to be able to both expound upon, elaborate, and provide justification, but then also really focus in on in a more visual or storytelling way. So I don't know, for me to be able to have to do both helped, because then I kept kind of going back and forth at the same time.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah.
Because it's that macro micro thing that everybody always talks about. You have to have the bird's eye view, then you have to have the up close view, and back and forth, and it sort of forced that.
I think also to add to what Carl said, figuring out how to describe an idea in text and figuring out how to show an idea with audio visuals is a very different process. And so you really see the whole spectrum of what your idea is from different angles.
And then when I went back, when I was trying to communicate it visually in a succinct way, it helped me identify some of the gaps that I didn't have in trying to kind of thread together a little a story. I say, oh, okay, well maybe I need to explain that better in my my RDP by having to put together a story.
Cool.
This is good. This is effects of technology or with, or I'm not sure, or through or whatever, but it's, I ask because, I mean, we start with the logic model as sort of a building way in to do that macro, micro, to start macro, but then I wondered if the affordances of the images would, both that would make you focus on the macro points, but would it also connect things with things you didn't think about before, or... I don't know. This is the first time we've sort of heard that so explicitly that it was helpful to have the two things at the same time. So,
well, even the narrating too, because I know I'll describe something verbally and I'll say something and all of a sudden, oh, I didn't know I knew that, but it just sort of comes out. But I wouldn't have thought of it if I was writing in the same sense.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Good.
Yeah, it worked well. Not Eli review, but everything else, yeah.
Oh, you guys are breaking my heart.
Sorry.
Okay.
I need to breathe.
That's the hard part of you want to be an objective user, right? Not an evangelist, but when it's your work and it's your baby,
this is the
it's
fact
really
that I
hard.
have to collect data with it and like a month. It's making me have panic attacks. I don't
She
care.
wants to study the effects of feedback, not the effects of whether
Eli
the thing works or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, that's what a study is, right? It's all these other contamination sources. So I want to cycle back to, I think, the question that was asked right when I was joining. So I didn't answer because I was sort of joining in the middle of the conversation. About the article critiques, I just picked random articles, more or less. So I don't think you should look at these articles as being particularly bad or chosen for their deficiencies. These are just articles. This is the state of the field. These are not bad articles or anything fatally wrong with them. So, my articles would look similar, and you could find things of critique in my articles and Carrie's articles too. True, I didn't grab them from top-tier journals because the only criteria I had when I selected these articles for review is I wanted the statistics to be easy enough that you had a chance to understand it. So that may not be true of Carrie's articles because Carrie does some wild statistics.
He does.
So these are, just basically pretty good articles. But I think the nature of the critique thing makes us take a negative stance and try and find things that are wrong. But we should probably spend some time when we critique to find all the things that are right, because there's a lot right in these articles too. So remember that. Lots of good things in those articles too.
And you're grading these, right, Matt?
I am grading these, yes.
Okay.
Carl's gonna make sure this was good.
That moment of hope. Like, please let it be.
Typing now.
Well, I mean, you guys
Word count 3. I loved it.
You guys are scoring, really well when you have a good eye. You notice this flaw in the logic. That's a really careful reading, and reward that for points. But you, like everybody else, wants to spend your time writing about that, but not all the points that they made that actually you agreed with. So it's probably worth spending a sentence or two to talk about maybe some things that are right too. Although it's probably human nature not to do that when you're taking this critical stance.
Andrea, I just wanted to make sure, for our third reading, it says that we have questions on Piazza, but those aren't linked. You know that, right?
Oh, okay. I'll just double check that. I think the optional reading this week?
The ed tech reading, the effects of and with technology, that one. The Salaway.
Not linked. Okay. The Salomon.
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
Oh, that's the big one.
Yeah, I know. Okay, I'll fix it.
Oh,
you.
sorry, guys. we just thought we thought maybe we just didn't have to answer any questions.
No.
I'm glad you found that. We talked the most about getting good discussion questions for that article, so we definitely want you to find those questions. Down dash, down.
I know, my dog. Sorry, let me mute myself. Of course, I don't have it out because I was taking notes. Okay. I banished him.
Is that cool? Sorry, my wife just got home, so she wants to see. Oh, look at that's really cool.
Hi. There's a lot of people this time.
Yeah.
I agree. The questions aren't there, so.
Okay, that was my bad. I thought I had them all in there, so I'll fix that tonight and make sure I send an email when it's up. Okay. Okay, that's gonna be a longer fix. Any other questions?
So did Dash eat your microphone or something, Andrea? You've gotten really quiet.
Oh. Can you guys not hear me?
Well, you're very quiet, but we can still hear you. Maybe he licked your microphone.
No, did I turn myself down? Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, no, I was just thinking. I was trying to figure out what happens. Oh, Dash, no! Get out of here. I thought I banished you. Yes, you're very naughty.
So anything else?
That's all I had.
Okay.
Yep.
The finish line is in sight.
It seems so far away.
The beginning seems so far away.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I actually sent my husband home to Kansas City this weekend so that I can get work done uninterrupted.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, and then he gets to visit my in-laws and I don't have to. But, I'm not going to mention that one. So,
The Outlaws, yeah.
Just a reminder, we're being recorded, right?
Extortion.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously.
All right. Well, thank you, Andrea.
Yeah.
It was helpful talking through that tonight.
Okay.
All right. Good to see everybody.
Yeah.
Andrea, will you let us know when those discussion questions are linked?
It'll be right after we get done. I just need to type in.
I think Dash disagrees.
Dash is gonna bark. No, Dash will be perfect angel now that we're not on the recording.
Yeah.
He will be a perfect angel. Quiet. I had to get him a yellow little bandana because people kept thinking he looked friendly, but he's actually he's actually really afraid of other dogs. So when they come too close, he has first he panics and then he starts barking and showing his teeth. I'm like, can you just not bring your dog over my dog? He might eat.
I do the same thing sometimes. It's understandable.
Yeah.
He's really afraid of the teeny tiny dog next door that weighs 5 pounds and he weighs almost 50. I don't know.
That's a huge deal for us. I live in a high rise and tons of people have dogs. Yeah. And they will seriously be like, we can't stop at this floor. My dog's going to bark at that dog because they know what dog was on which floors.
Yeah.
They'll be like, we can't stop on that floor. We need to go past it. It's like, whoa.
It's like a whole thing. That's yeah. I admire people who have dogs in the city. It's tough business. So, all right. Well, you don't have to stay in here. I'll let my dog loose. You guys can go. All right.
All right,
Thank
take
you.
care.
Bye, everyone.
Good seeing
Have a
everybody.
night.
Good night.
Bye.
See you guys. Bye.
No.